We're going to look at the steps involved when configuring a bean that refers to another bean inside of here. We're now introducing the parameterized constructors in our engine and car. So in our engine and car class, and we've previously done all of this code in the playlist link below the like button, very short videos going all over the Spring framework. So in our engine, we have these variables, and we had previously getters and setters. We're not going to use these getters and setters anymore. Instead, we are going to have a constructor. And this constructor has parameters where we have all of these inside of here, and we are just going to place them like this. And then we have the same thing for our car class. And so we're going to use them like this. And now in our XML file, which is our application context.xml, we're going to leave everything the same, except we want to replace our previously named properties. We previously had properties here and properties here with constructor args, because we're using a constructor and not the properties anymore. So we have constructor args going into the constructor, it's passing it in for like this for both of them. And so if we run our main class, it's going to look the same like we've had in the previous video, where we have all this information being printed out. Our main class just looks like this. We have not changed anything. Well, what if we want to use the property inside of here? So let's say we don't want to use constructor. Let's try to change this back to property. So this is just me going back, changing everything to property. Well, if we do this and we run our main, we are going to get some errors. And this is because it can't resolve like the type. There are errors right here. I have an exception, and this is because we just can't resolve something like this with the reference. Well, a way we could like fix that, even though we would want something like this passed in as a constructor, we can just comment this out really quickly. We can make a default constructor by going to generate constructor, select none, and this is public car like this. It did not run, but that's because I've created the mess with the wrong file. We can see that we're in the engine one, skillsoft.auto.engine. This gets the actual class. So what we want to do is comment this one out, and then we want to, from here, generate a constructor. It's empty, and it's going to look like this. So not in the car class, that's the wrong one, inside of the engine one. The engine one, because we have our properties. The car, we want to have a constructor because we have our constructor still inside of there. And now we have just properties inside of here. In our XML file, we can see that we've made two beans. And to do this more intuitively, since this one references this bean right here, we can just put this bean, this one right here, inside of our reference. So instead of having this as reference, we are going to remove this. And in its place, we are going to put all of this. So I'm going to cut that and paste that inside of here. So we can just push this over like this. And then on the outside of here, we should have constructor args like this. That way we are going to end this. We should also have this as an end right here. We're going to want an arrow right here. We don't need this one like that. So just troubleshooting some things, I put everything back. We're going to want to just take this part out. And then from here, we are going to want our bean ID, everything like this, inside of here. So we're going to take this, paste it inside of here, and then we can have our constructor tag. I think if we just do a constructor args like this, and then we do another arrow right here, we should get that. So we can close this, grab this, and we want to paste this under here, and now everything should be valid. So that was kind of a long workaround to do it, still getting the hang of this, but we have our constructor args like this, we have our name engine, and then this engine, basically all of this right here is going to be the value or the reference. It's going to be in the place after this. And then we have our constructor arg, and then we have our closing bean. So now this is a little bit more efficient. Remember, in our engine we have this plain constructor. We're going to go into our main, and then we're going to try to run it. I have a fat error. Here,
Oh
look.
my gosh, you have a fat cat. I'm kidding. Oliver's not a fat cat. He's a perfect cat.
I have
What
fat.
are you doing?
I'm using here. It just has constructors in it. And then we have a main which uses the class path, but I'm getting an error. I don't know exactly why that is. Exception encountered during context initialization. Error creating the name carbene. Defined in class path, so it's in the XML file. There's something wrong with it. Cannot create the inner engine bean, so it's saying it can't create this. Of type Skillsoft.auto engine while setting a constructor param. You have to include the class. Basically, you have like this package. You have to have the kind of the directory of like the actual project package that you get it from. I think. While setting constructor argument nested error.
I don't think you need logo. Oh, sorry.
Huh?
Yes. Nothing. Keep going.
You don't think I need what?
No, 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 no. Keep going.
Error creating with name engine bean. Defined in class path resource. Error creating bean. Error setting property values. Invalid. Property is not writable. Oh, maybe it's because... Oh, if you're using just a regular constructor, you probably need these setter and getter methods. So let me run this again. Okay, so you see how you have these okay, so Spring is pretty cool, right? Basically, you have like a class like this, right? You have like horsepower, max RPM, displacement, all of this stuff, right? And the way you access it is with name. So you set name equal to whatever, and then you type in the name of that variable, and it finds it in that class. As long as you specify the class path, it'll go through your entire Java file, it'll find it, and then you see where it says value, you input a string, and it'll automatically convert it to whatever like value it needs to convert it, right? And the problem that I was doing is when you're using constructor arguments like this, if you pass it into here, it sets everything, right? Well, there's another way you can do it with property. So that's just to show it for the video. With property, I forgot I commented out the setters and getters. So it calls this constructor automatically, right? And then after it calls a constructor, the property values go through the program and find the setter and getters. Like this get horsepower right here. This name, horsepower, finds it, right? And it sets it. But since I had them commented all out, like this, it couldn't run through and it couldn't find it. That's why it was giving us that error. Wait, I'm going to keep that in the video.